So the president came out saying he's trying to fix a mess right now. Didn't really seem to address two of the big issues, some of the weakness in the job market and the concerns about AI, while it's a driver for the economy, taking away jobs. Do you think he missed the mark here? What do you think the read is when it comes to voters?
Right. There are a lot of statistics and numbers that he put forward in that speech, and yet he still, sort of managed to miss a couple of things people are worried about, which you rightly just highlighted. People are concerned about the impact of AI on jobs, and they're worried about jobs more broadly. And at that point, and it's probably a good reason, it's pretty tough to argue against the statistics. But as he said at the beginning of that clip you just played about inflation, he's facing, and the administration is facing, the same problem that the Biden administration faced, which is even if you bring inflation way down and you bring, back down to the Fed target of 2%, inflation has gone up a tremendous, and prices have gone up a lot since 2020, which still isn't that long ago. So people remember what prices used to be, and they look at what they are now. So even if prices have stopped going up, even if that happens for a while, they remember that things certainly seem to be a lot more expensive, and wages aren't growing that much faster than inflation. So that's a real problem. And the only thing that's going to solve that problem is a sustained period of strong economic growth where wages are rising a lot faster than inflation, and we have yet to experience that.
All right. So the president touched on health care, saying that the money should go to the people, alluding to the ACA subsidies, but not addressing it directly. Of course, we've seen moderate Republicans try to push a vote. The fact that healthcare costs are more than likely going to go up if this doesn't somehow pass, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen right now, what does that mean for the president next year and also for the midterms?
Yeah, I think it would be one thing if the president and Republicans had a very specific plan that they were ready to implement that could get the votes and pass. So you're saying that, great, we're not going to do this other thing. We're not going to extend these subsidies. And I know you're worried about that, but we actually have a plan ready to go, pull it off the shelf, implement it. And they don't, and they didn't last year, and they haven't had one, since the ACA was passed. So the public just doesn't have a lot of confidence. Great, you have another plan, wonderful, but if you don't, at least give us the subsidies. So these prices don't jump. And that's the quandary, is that Republicans still don't have a real solution on health care. And frankly, a couple of these other things, housing, that's mostly going to be a local issue. There's not a lot that the federal government can do about that other than sort of urge states to do things. And, energy, we just need to build a lot more energy capacity in this country. That is something the president and Congress working together could handle, but it's going to take time.
All right. It sounds like you don't think voters received this speech well. I know a lot of people saw it as being a bit dark. I'm going to go to the other side of the coin, the corporate audience. It's no secret. The president has really courted the favor and the donations of corporate America, specifically big tech. How do you think companies and CEOs and people in the corporate world read what he had to say?
Yeah, the president still loves tariffs, still says it's the most beautiful word. Hopefully we won't get any higher tariffs. Hopefully that'll kind of work its way through the system. But if I was running a company, what I would like to hear is, one, some certainty on the tariff front, maybe some certainty on the national security front. We have this emerging blockade in South America, and I would like to make sure that there was some certainty on. You brought up AI. I would like to know that, like, this technology, I will still be able to implement it. There's not going to be a lot of new regulation. So I think that the issue would probably be certainty from the Trump administration. When there are going to be some good things happening, like on taxes starting next year. So that's kind of a tailwind.